Okay, it says we're streaming live. Let me double check.
I see you back there, like
What?
how you organizing all the
Oh,
everything on the backstage. Yeah.
hey, I learned my lesson from that other live that we did with the crew for
Uh,
Level Up. I was like, no,
yeah.
I'll have everything up this time.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. So we are up and we have two people in the room with us. What's up, everybody?
Bless the love. Yes.
Thank you all for joining us today. If you don't know, I'm Te'Jal Cartwright. I'm a creative consultant with Co-op Dayton. I was more recently the outreach director, but now I'm a creative consultant as I prepare to go into entrepreneurship full time. So I just appreciate everybody's support with that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're excited to watch you blossom and bloom and take this work to a whole nother level, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, so who are you?
Greetings. According to my thing, it's Amaha 101. I think that's must be from my sociology class or something. But uh yeah, Amaha one of the co-directors at Co-op Dayton and um board president for Gym City Market and just community advocate, I guess, you know. And
All the things.
yeah, we're thankful for everybody that was able to join today, you know. So yeah.
Yes. So we're excited because Co-op Dayton and Amaha has a special project that they are about to, adventure on. And I think it's been a long time coming. If you know Amaha, you know that he just has a lot to say. And I feel like God uses you and you just have a lot of wisdom that you've learned from like elders, experience, community. And so just to really have a platform where you can talk to people about a specific subject is so cool, and we'll get more into that. But today we're just here to chat it up, talk about solidarity.
I said, yeah, no, I'm excited. You know, I feel like it's been a long time coming and yeah, I'm excited to just yeah, explore solidarity and really like just have like some dope conversations with, you know, people around the nation, around the world and locally just to like, you know, harvest our collective wisdom as we're kind of like meaning making in this new season. It feels like, you know, there's a shift and you know we're entering this new season and like how do we make sense of like where we are and where we're going and you know like the African proverb, you know what I mean, you want to go fast go alone, but if you want to go far go together, you know. So yeah.
I feel like you always talk about the shift, and
Mhm.
intuitively, I understand. I feel like I started to understand more, especially after COVID and like quarantine and the shutdown. But can you like talk more about the shift? What do you mean when you talk about the shift?
Yeah, it seems like, you know, like humanity's entering a different season of time, you know, where it's like, you know, like in warm weather, you know, we dress a certain way because of the temperature is hot, you know what I mean? And then there's times when it's cold and we dress, you know, in a lot of layers because it's cold, you know? And so it seems like, you know, different seasons or like periods of time, there's a certain like underlying current that like the more that we like harmonize with, you know, the more successful and that we can be. And it seemed like, you know, it's a time where, you know, we're harvesting, uh, you know, like our elders have been on this journey for a long time, pressing towards, you know, freedom and, you know, I would say reconciliation and liberation. And it seems like we're at this point now where like the seeds that have been laid uh in generations that we may never even know of is all coming to harvest right now, you know. And it just feels that like we're in this time where, you know, we're on the offense as far as like what are the patterns that we're shaping on the earth, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if we truly want to enter into beloved community, it seems like the environment is ripe for us to come together and use our gifts and talents towards building and co-creating, you know what I mean, what we can be together.
Yes, I feel like yes to all of that. But to me, when I think about the shift and like this moment, it's like, you know, I'm kind of younger. So like I don't feel like I have experienced many like now I wouldn't say revolutions because I have seen some amazing revolutions in my lifetime, but I feel like during COVID, during quarantine, to me, that was like the first time like everybody was on the same page. That
Yeah.
was the first time that I saw humanity come together, even if it was for like one moment, one
Blip.
second.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah,
in the
yeah.
beginning, we all had the same kind of energy. We all, and then after a while, it started to, rays started to come in and all of these different things. But
Yeah.
for one moment, we all were on the same page. We all were like, what the hell is COVID? Like, what the hell is going on? We are all nervous for our family. We all just want to be safe. And that gave me like hope and
Mm,
like, okay, like it's possible for all of us to be on the same page. And so then I saw that feeling again with the great resignation.
mm,
Like
mm.
when quarantine happened and it slowed me down, I was like, oh my gosh, like I really been like working and not being able to be a mom like I want, and I don't like that and I'm not gonna have that life. But then I saw that thought multiply when I saw like America is going through the largest like quits and people
Right,
like silent
right.
quitting and we don't know what we're gonna do. Let's do this inflation, but that's for another Zoom. But like it was like another moment where we all was on the same page. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's it's interesting, right? Because I think like COVID, I think was a very tangible, visceral, it was a lot of things, right? But it was a really tangible experience that we are interconnected together, right? It didn't matter if you was in Italy, if you was in Africa, if you was in Asia, if you was in South America, that we were having some sort of common experience. Now it might not be exactly the same wherever we were, but we had the shared experience. And I think that's important because it was the first time that we got to see that, like, oh, we actually are interconnected in some kind of way. You know what I mean? Like this notion of Ubuntu, that I am because you are, and my humanity is recognized in the presence of your humanity, right? And at the same time, that global pause gave us the chance to decide, how do we intentionally want to come out of it. You know what I mean? And like, so people got to say, like, you know what, like these things that I was doing, I don't want to do no more, or whatever. You know what I mean? And the Great Resignation happened, and all these things. You know what I mean? So it's like this power of social choice. You know what I mean? That like, oh, we're not where we were. Kind of like 9/11. There was a pre 9/11 and a post 9/11. Now there was a pre-COVID existence, and now we're in the beginnings of like, what is this world post-COVID, or post like the happening of COVID? And like, we can intentionally create it. You know what I mean? By either our action or our inaction. But either way, like, we are shaping this next phase. You know what I mean? And so like, how do we be intentional together? You know what I mean? And if there's things that we didn't like before, like what are we doing now to actively change it?
yes, I like what you said about just like how do we intentionally want to come out of this together and just really that observation. Before we move forward, I don't think we like talked about co-op dating in the
Okay.
beginning.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to take a moment while people are here to just
yeah.
like we are part of Co-op Dayton, and Co-op Dayton is an organization that builds cooperatives and long story short, cooperatives just really keep the economy and the people's power. Is too far we've seen like the economy be out of our control. Businesses leave because of money, because of whatever. So just really putting power and jobs into our as a community into our like power. that. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah. You know, 'cause I think like sometimes we see economy as something like greater than us. You know what I mean? Like it's this thing outside of us that is like magically happening in the background. You know what I mean? Instead of realizing that like we actually have the power to create our own economy. You know what I mean? And so at Co-op Dayton, you know what I mean? Like we're trying to build, you know, a local economy in Dayton that is, you know, driven and centered in human dignity, human value, human worth, human the dignity of work and labor, you know what I mean? And building an ecosystem that like not only like flips our dollar to build like a solidarity economy, but also is the economy of what is it that we're trying to go to in like what is our collective hope, you know what I mean, locally, you know? And so like Dr. Jessica Nimhart, you know, shout out. If you haven't read Collective Courage, is like the book of books to read, you know. But she highlights that like the freedom movement was always economic development and community transformation happening simultaneously. You know what I mean? And oftentimes we pull those apart as being separate. Like I was one that did that for a long time. I only wanted to work on community transformation and like I didn't care about the economy stuff. You know what I mean? But now I understand that like as we are saying like this is where we want to go, our collective hope, then like what is that economic engine that like drives us and propels us in the trajectory of the North Star that we're trying to create, right? And that's where the two come together. So at Co-op Dayton, we do cooperative development, right? And we also do movement building, you know what I mean? And so like we're developing what is our collective hope, you know what I mean? What are those that are trying to leave the status quo and that believe another world is possible? And then what is the economy that we can build to like support us and help us get there, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I feel like it always starts with like that social piece, right? Before
Mm-hmm.
you get to the economy. I don't know. That's how it started for me too. I was like, oh man, if we just like loved each other, like we could build power. And it's like, yes, but we also need to take control of our economic strengths in the economy and our
I say,
community. Like, that
I
is a big
say,
piece of it. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate that insight.
Yeah, I think it's the adjective. You know what I mean? That like each economy has a driver behind it, and oftentimes it's unnamed. You know what I mean? Or like what is the goals and the values that is driving it? You know what I mean? And so it's like when we align the community aspirations and also economic development, you know what I mean? Like that's like a power that like of self-determination, you know what I mean? That like to propel us, you know? So yeah.
And I feel like right now, I feel like, so I don't know if we were clear about this, but Amaha is starting a podcast. I will be helping with production. And Amaha is so, y'all already know how he is. It's not his podcast, it'll be like a community conversation. So every episode, there will be guests. We already have the first 3 episodes lined up for you guys. So we'll share their information. But I think this podcast is so important right now to talk about solidarity and define it together is because we are in this space and I feel like we all want something different right now.
Yeah.
So really coming together and being like, what does that different look like? Because none of us are happy with what's happening
Right.
right
Right.
now. And if we can think about that globally, we can think about that, you know, locally, like, man, locally, we're not happy with what's going on, how we're treating each other, how we're showing up sometimes. But also the Solidarity podcast is to like bring to light where it exists, where
Mhm.
solidarity already
Yeah.
exists and how we can amplify it. And then, like what you said, is solidarity what we want to call it? You know, we're just starting with that word, but like we are here to build on what we already have and kind of take it to that next level. It's time to evolve.
I say. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you know, evolution is the revolution, right? And so uh, you know, like I think yeah, so you know, we want to have a dialogue around. Well, you said so much to unpack this thing. No, that was a blessing, you know. And so, uh, you know, we want to start a podcast to explore, you know, solidarity. And we're gonna have a whole solidarity campaign. You know what I mean? Of like what does that look like for us, you know, locally? You know what I mean? Like I think like you touched upon that, like it seems like there's like an aspiration like underneath the surface that is like a real collective aspiration, but for whatever reason, like we're waiting for permission to like fully pursue it. You know what I mean? Like how do we shift from like, oh, this is something that can happen in the by and by, to like, yo, like we're going to press in to pursue it now. You know what I mean? Like King talks about that fierce urgency of now. You know what I mean? What is that collective hope? You know what I mean? That like it's already like sparking us, but we are afraid to like fully name and step into together, you know what I mean, as a community. And I think it's popping up in different places all over the globe. You know what I mean? That's what, like, you know, I traveled a lot last year, you know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I just keep seeing, that like these imaginal cells are like rising all over the globe, you know what I mean? Um and so it's like we're calling the podcast Our Shared Future, because it's like that's what I think is one of the key things to understand, is that like as humans, you know what I mean, we literally have a shared future. Now we can intentionally pursue it or not pursue it, but either way, we got a shared future regardless. You know what I mean? And so like what
Mm,
does that mean? You know what I mean? On a local level, national, international level, you know what I mean? But going to what Te'Jal was mentioning, I'm realizing like the power of the local, you know what I mean? And that's not a new phenomenon. You know what I mean? People say, you know, think globally, act locally, you know what I mean? But like when we talk about fractals, you know what I mean? Like Adrienne Marie Brown, like highlights, and Margaret Wheatley and different ones, you know, that like what we do on a small scale can reverberate on a larger way, you know what I mean? So like as, you know, the Dayton community, as Ohio, you know what I mean, as like the Midwest region, you know, like what is that thing that we can become together that shows that something else is possible beyond the status quo? You know what I mean? That can then like spark other places around the globe that like, yo, this is possible. And we're learning from other places as well. You know what I mean? And so like the whole thing is like, how do we spark what is possible, that we can show, heighten the contradiction. And that's what I think you mentioned hope earlier. I think hope comes from knowing that something else is possible and that we have the power to change our lived environment, you know. And the more hopeful we are, the more we're willing to put our gifts into the center of the circle, you know. Like when I'm hopeful, I'm willing to do, I'm willing to act, I'm willing to like know that my gifts can participate in creating something greater for not only this generation but for our children and our children's children, you know what I mean? Like in First Nation, they look 7 generations ahead, you know what I mean? But when I don't believe that change is possible, then like I hold back, you know what I mean, my gifts, you know what I mean, and I can become hopeless or, you know, have apathy or whatever, you know. And so I think of like how we have this conversation of like what we can be together, like when we really know that we know that we know, and we commit to pressing in, you know what I mean? Like I like to say like that 8 Mile moment, you know what I mean? He's like Eminem, where he said, you know, you got that shot, you know what I mean? Like if we have like a shot as humanity, you know what I mean? Like how are we gonna take it in this hour?
yeah, you guys comment. Like, how are you gonna take this shot? Right now, it's the shot to just come together. Like, what would you do? Like, what is your moment? What does this moment mean to you? And we'll go ahead and read some of those comments. I'm like doing both. I'm on here having this conversation with Maha and wrapping it up with y'all in the comments. But yeah, let us know. The other thing is too,
You just gangster like that.
I ain't gonna lie, when we saw Judah and the Messiah, like,
Mm-hmm.
it got me thinking like, oh no, this is a little off topic, but I do want to say like this is a public forum, so anybody can be here, right? Friends and allies and not allies. But I just really want to just put it out there and set intentions of like having an open heart and just like leading with love and like
Mm.
just really showing up in this space to create and build change if you already aren't, and if you are, just yeah, keep going. But I definitely want to welcome everyone here and kind of just request that we all have like an open heart and lead with love and
I say,
nothing
I
else.
say, I say.
But yeah, I had to say that because I'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
who in the space?
No, and I appreciate that, right? So that's why, like, I think we're calling it a tagline, you know what I mean? Like Chadro is our creative genius behind this on this work, you know what I mean? But our tagline is one love is the social order, right? Because I think ultimately, you know, like the current our current environment and system is rooted in fear, right? And then that fear shows up in independence, and it also shows up in competition, right? That we compete with each other in this notion of scarcity of resources and all these things, right? Um, but like when interdependence is the cornerstone, it's rooted in love, you know? And out of love and interdependence, cooperation is a natural outcome. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, if we got a shared future, then like, how are we working together? How do we see each other as like gifts towards completing our mission instead of things to compete against? So like, I'm not trying to outshine anybody. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, like, how do we like bring our gifts together? Because when we bring our gifts together, that's what creates the social wind or like the power, the community power to drive us and propel us and to create new patterns on the earth. You know what I mean? And so like a lot of it comes down to what our underlying assumptions is, or like King calls it a revolution of values. You know what I mean? And so it's like love, I think, is like the foundation for all of this work, right? And like what it means to stand on it. You know what I mean? And I don't fully know. You know what I mean? Like I aspire for it and I pursue it. You know what I mean? But yo, let's you know, like they say, you make the road by walking it. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, let's walk us out together. But it's an exodus. You know what I mean? Like we're leaving one paradigm and entering another, and paradigm shifts as the dialogue shifts. You know what I mean? So how do we move from the aspiration dialogue to like an acceptance dialogue, or like this is our reality or our knowing dialogue? Like I remember, like I was with Baba Malik a little bit ago, and we were talking about belief. Like, nope, it's not belief, it's knowing. You know what I mean? So like, how do we act like we know? You know what I mean? Like how does our knowing inform and shape our actions? How does our knowing shape how we see ourselves and see each other? You know what I mean? And so yeah.
So thank you, Maha. Period. We got a lot of comments, but I know a few more people joined, so I just want to do a reminder. Amaha and I are talking about a new podcast that Amaha will be co-creating with community, just really talking about solidarity. We're just focusing on solidarity and how do we go to that next level? And really, what does it mean to be in solidarity? Where does it already show up in our communities? And how
Yeah.
can we use those moments as momentum to amplify, create a better world for all of us? I'm
Yeah.
gonna read some of your comments because y'all
Okay.
are going in. Shout out to just like the interactiveness. I kind
Yes,
of want
hey.
all of has to be live. This is fun. Tawana Hawkins said, lead with love and share resources. And I believe
Mm.
that's how she wants to show up and use her shot. So shout out to your shot.
Wow. Get that to
Um,
one. That's dope. Yeah, for real.
Quentin Alexander said, part of my actions to live the collective now by sowing seeds in the community, both agriculturally and allegorically. What does
Wow.
that mean?
Yeah,
That'd be a
I
very
would like to know more what we mean by like allegory, you know, I gotta Google that word real quick. I got a general idea, but I'm not
yes, it's spelled Allegoricy. So either
kind of like
Maha,
an
look it up.
allegory.
Yeah. Allegorically. Okay. And then let's see. Aquesi, am
Ah,
I
yeah,
saying your
yeah, yeah. Okay. It says a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. Yeah, yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
rock with
Like
that.
it's almost
I
like
rock with
how do we embody this reality that we're stepping into? You know what I mean? Like you know, be living examples of the story we're co-creating as protagonists. You know.
mm-hmm. Okay. Aquesi Prince Mensa. I hope I said your name right. Please let me know. Please correct me. It said capitalism is not rooted in love. No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
The exact opposite. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. It's rooted in exploitation, fear, and I would say dehumanization. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Liz says it's built on a myth of scarcity. Like there's not enough, and there's more than enough. There's always
Okay.
more than enough Jesus. Oh,
I
I'm
say.
getting mad.
And
Okay.
you know, I
Uh,
think I think that goes to we are the ones, right? Because when we know that we are the ones we've been waiting for, then we know that like within us is enough. Like as we are like coming together and bringing our gifts together, we create the abundance. You know what I mean? Like I know McKnight and other they talk about, you know, abundant community, you know what I mean? And so and Peter Block, you know what I mean, they speak about abundant community, you know what I mean, a community that like realizes the assets that are in it and how we bring those assets together to create, you know. Yeah.
my favorite thing to do is bring assets together
I
because
say.
like when I worked with Co-op Dayton, it was the first time I could like go up to somebody and be like, what do you love to do? And they say it and we'd be able to work to fit them in and just like, you know, based on their passion and working with people who are passionate about what they do versus like working with people that like isn't and is just, I mean, is there to survive. It's a big difference. Both
Mm,
people are people, but when people are excited to like live in their passion, it's just a different experience. So assets, whatever assets y'all got, let us know. Co-op Dayton is here to work with you, support you, like just really build a space where, like we said earlier, we can all thrive because it's possible. Don't ever let nobody tell you anything different. And
hey.
I'm sure y'all all already know.
Yeah.
Um,
I got a technical question real quick. I just want to make sure. I'm getting texts and people want to know how to join the live. It's on our Co-op Dating page, right?
uh-huh, yep.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I thought so. I just want to make sure. I'm sending people there. So I just want to make sure. Okay.
Okay. Yep. It's on the co-op page. Y'all share with y'all friends, share with people who will feel the vibes and really relate to this message. Let's continue to build this momentum. Just finishing up the comments and then we'll go to our last question and kind of like leave everybody on a cliffhanger. No, yeah, we gotta go. But we'll let y'all know when we'll drop where we're dropping the episodes of the podcast. But I really like this live energy. So like maybe we could do a podcast and like go live after it's dropped. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll figure it
Okay.
out.
So so Mary Sue said it allows us to
Hey,
be
Mary Sue.
proactive rather than reactive. When I think
Yeah.
when we can take control of the economy and don't wait for anyone else. I think this is to your "We Are the Ones" comment.
Yeah.
George
And I
Angel
think being
said,
the protagonist, right? Like how we be the protagonist in the story we're creating instead of always like following the wind of somebody else and just being reacting. You know what I mean? So yeah, and Mary Sue is like gangster. I would love to have Mary Sue on this podcast sometime. Yeah.
okay, let me find our connect page. So like if anybody wants to join or anything, like co-op dating, they can like sign up. I gotta find that page. Okay. The other comment is how do we encourage each other to take a leap of faith? Also,
Mm,
how do we practice catching people and rewarding their faith with character and trust in an ecosystem?
I say. Yeah, that's a deep question. You know what I mean? Like I would love to hear, you know, what others have to say, you know, as well. You know, like I think part of it is like how do we create like a structure of belonging? You know what I mean? Like how do we, you know, part of like knowing we have a shared future, I think is like creating the space where everybody feels valued and their dignity upheld, you know, and like uh I think like sometimes like we don't act out of like fear of like it not working, you know what I mean? But if we're developing praxis, you know, like you know, you have a thought, you act, and then you reflect on that action that informs your practice again, you know, then it's like, you know, like everything's a learning, you know what I mean? And so it's like there's no failures, it's just like we're learning lessons and we're growing together, you know what I mean? And we can support one another because like we're at our best when everybody is like flowing in like their full gifts, you know what I mean? And I actually want to know what that looks like, you know what I mean? Like I've never been in a space where like, you know, we got a collective of people that are like fully walking in their calling and gifts, you know what I mean? And so I'm hoping that we continue to like develop those type of spaces, you know.
I love that. And that's a really great question. And that's why we're creating or yeah, creating this spaces so we can talk about things like that. And it sounds like a system or a principle needs to be
Mm,
set up for that. Like
I say.
Maha said, I've never been in that position. I don't know, but I want to talk about it because that's a great question.
Yeah.
I dropped the link for you guys to sign up and to be a part of, Co-op Day in any capacity. We have a sheet, a link that just really asks questions about who you are, what your passion is, how you want to show up, and we're here to just co-create. And
That's
if you
it.
want to be on the new podcast, Our Shared Future, I will use that link to kind of sign up and let us know as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead, Amaha.
Like I said, so one of our goals is like to connect like local and regional work with also like examples that are happening across the nation and globe. And so like we want to create the space where like local can connect to others and like we can share ideas and best practices and like learn from each other, you know what I mean? So we're gonna have a space that sometimes might just be more local, sometimes having a bridge between two, and then you know what I mean. But we're gonna make the road by walking it. So we're going to see how it goes and what makes the most sense. But this we want to create a space for dialogue. And really, it's like selfish on me too. I just want to learn. Like I love picking people's brain. You know what I mean? So I just want to have a space where we can have just dialogues.
Um, Absolutely. Okay, so the last few comments is Lindsay Locke. Part of my actions root from listening to my fellow beings. Absolutely.
I say,
Listening can do so many things for community. Listening helps you, I've learned that listening helps you learn how to treat the people around you. Like when I
mm,
listen, I'm able to like just really see how to treat people.
yeah,
Sharing decision-making power and sharing power with others is the ways that I try to adopt a lifestyle of advancement and progression personally and planetary.
I say. We gotta save this chat, man. Like this, this chat's fire. So yeah.
Miss Mary E. Tyler is on here. She said, I'm
Oh,
interested in a
okay.
market that cultivates leadership and the gifts you're talking about. I want to bring others to the table of decision making. So,
I say, and Mary has lived that out over multiple years. You know what I mean? So shout out to
yeah,
Mary for all the work that she has done. She's modeled that for real.
okay, so as we come to a close with this conversation and our huge announcement about our amazing podcast and all of the wonderful guests that will be joining, I really want to ponder on like what are ways that like this is a question for me and you, Amaha, and the audience, but what are ways that we can better show up in solidarity? Like,
Mm,
what are some things that like you're working on individually? Because I definitely don't want people to feel like, oh man, like they're just so advanced. I feel like I'm not, I definitely work to, walk in solidarity and love, but there are some spaces to improve. So
I
just
say,
kind of
yeah,
showing
for
our
me.
scars a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think you mentioned something earlier. I think that's like highlighting how people already show up in solidarity, like if it's, you know, some mothers are like, yo, if you take my kids today to soccer practice, then I'll do something the next day or something, like different ways that we can practice solidarity. And I think for me, one thing that I'm striving to do. So yesterday I was in a dialogue with Julio and Vibes, and it was like, like there's so many people that are working at like creating a space of solidarity locally, and so like how um to pull together or like create a space where like all the relationships that like we've collectively built over these years of people that are striving to like step outside the status quo, you know what I mean? Like how we have a space where we can be in dialogue and learn what everybody's doing and how they all communicate with each other or like how their work goes with each other, you know what I mean? And so like this year I'm like committing more to like really taking the time to like to do that, you know what I mean? And to be intentional about my calendar and my time because I'm not the best with that. So like how to really yeah, you know what I mean? And I think
No,
like
that's
I was gonna say like I like for me just personally, like I've never like I've held back because I had like a belief, but I didn't fully know. And like one thing that we were in Jamaica with the heart, like 2 weeks ago, and it came to me that what, like there's a thing called a buoyancy of hope, you know what I mean? And so it's like as my like belief can like waver up and down sometimes, there's a deeper knowing, and I have to allow that deeper knowing to like propel me forward, even if like my mind doubts at times and to get fear and all these things, you know what I mean? Like, like as my buoyancy of hope continues to rise, I got to act out of what I know is true, even if my mind tries to tell me it's not, if that makes any sense, you know what I mean? And to like press, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a conversation like that recently, but it was more so about goals, right? It's like one thing that I do in order to achieve my goals is like it's important to write the steps down because sometimes your mind is gonna, for some reason, just play tricks on you. And
Yeah.
so when it does, kind of like just stick to that list and you'll see
Mm.
the vision that you have kind of come to. Like your mind will always, for some reason, you'll always kind of have these moments. And whether it's like, whether you believe in the enemy, whether you believe in whatever, for
Yeah.
some reason, we always have these moments where we falter
Yeah.
mentally. And so just following the plan, because
Yeah.
it'll get you right there. What you said reminded me of that. I think for me, we do have some comments. I'm going to read them. I think for me, I want to work on just like trusting. It is really hard for me to trust. And
Mm.
so because of that, I don't show up in a lot of spaces fully. And it takes, I think it's good to so like read people, but I think sometimes I just take too long. So I just want to learn how to be better and trust my intuition and to trust God and like his protection over me in my life.
I say.
And then in spaces where I already show up in solidarity, I love kids. So I literally take care of kids and like
Yes.
the parents buy the
The
pizza.
auntie.
Yes, yes. I am like, I love being an auntie. And so that's really where I show up in small ways of solidarity is like when I see my friends or my brothers or my sisters are like tired, and then I'll be like, let me take your baby because I got energy. I have a flexible schedule. And I'm really excited this year to see how to show up more for like people outside of my family,
Mm. I say.
children. But as far as the comments, Darshil said recreate a meeting like the one at Omega when Gem City Market was birthed.
I say that was a fire meeting. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, that's real. We need more spaces like that. And maybe one time, what I mean, we'll have some people on that would help like co-create that, you know what I mean, that we could talk through, you know what I mean? Like, we had I don't know how many people was in that room at Omega when, the market was birthed and some of the other things, so yeah.
I think if you definitely have capacity to support with creating something like that, Co-op Dayton is open, Amaha is open. We could have it around a conversation around solidarity. Just really contact us and like let's set it up because I do think that that's important. I think the thing right now is like capacity. Um, but Mabry Davis says yes, it does. All right, dang. I wish I knew what you was talking about,
What
Mabry.
up, Mabry? Yeah, I don't know. Shout out to Mabry. So Mabry's out of West Virginia, and we between West Virginia and Lakeisha over in Pittsburgh, we are exploring, and Gabby down in Tennessee and West Virginia. Like what does like a regional ecosystem look like and solidarity economy look like, you know what I mean? And so like there's different scales that this can work on, you know what I mean, from the local to more of a regional ecosystem. Yeah, so shout out Mabry, you know what I mean? He maybe doing amazing work, you know what I mean? He definitely going to be on this podcast at some point if he's willing, which I'm sure he is, so yeah.
Okay. All right. So last comment, Catherine said, Catherine Swain,
What up,
Swain.
Catherine? Hey.
She said, "Thank you. I needed to hear that." I'm sure it was something insightful that I said, not a mind.
Of course, you know. Yeah, but Catherine's OG, you know what I mean? Like she's all about community and she's been in these trenches doing this work, you know what I mean? And so that's what I appreciate about this hour, you know, it's like people are finding each other that like, you know, are believing in the dignity of humanity and are trying to move us forward. Like how do we continue to find each other. And I think that connects to what you said earlier, Tejal, about like the renewing of our mind. You know what I mean? Like our mind has been conditioned for so many years to accept certain things, to expect certain things, you know, that like it becomes our default, you know? And so how do we create a new default, you know, that like values relational over transactional and all these different things, you know what I mean? That like are some of those social choices that we can make, you know what I mean, to build that shared future from a divided past, you know?
You know, too, in 2020, a friend had asked me to like do a trade, like our business trade.
Hmm.
And I literally did not know how to do it. Like money was literally my only trade. And like thinking about now, I have like not way less, but I have less than what I had in 2020. And you know, not like trade, it's not because I have less, it's just like trade makes sense to me now. Like, you know, like understanding value and things outside of money.
I
So
say,
like just highlighting like when you open your mind and you like
yeah,
look.
yeah, the barter system, right? You know what was crazy? And Janelle, like you just send me a text, but put that in the chat if you haven't already, because I think that's a good conversation for to have. Uh um that like there was I've had one post that I would say was like ever viral, you know what I mean? Like it had like I don't know 400, 500 shares, right? And it literally was just a picture of what it's not the gifts economy. What do you call it? Uh what do you call it where like people put like the things that they have to share in the community and like people could say, "Oh, I need help with yard work and you need help with sewing and we come together." I forget what you call it now all of a sudden, but like it was just a picture of like what that could look like in the community. It literally got at least 500 shares, if not more than that. It was like the most viral thing I've ever seen before. But that just showed me that, like, yeah, like that is something that like is a deep down aspiration. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like how can we share damn, what do you call that? It was like a gifts bank or something like that. I can't think of the word right now, but like, you
Giving
know,
us the answers down here. Mutual aid,
yeah,
bartering.
mutual aid, you know, but it's not called mutual aid, but it really is the same thing as mutual aid. But like that language wasn't being used as much back then. It was a couple years ago. But like, yeah, mutual aid is the same thing. You know what I mean? Like how do we develop more of our how we like help and work together? You know what I mean? So yeah, yeah, mutual aid is a yeah, bartering. Yeah.
Okay, so all right. So many comments. I'm gonna read a few and then we're gonna be out.
Okay.
Just,
I'm jealous. I can't see these comments, so I'm jealous, but go ahead.
just pull up your phone and like look.
Oh, you know
But
what? See,
also
that's why you the technical genius. You know what I mean? 'Cause, like,
like you be acting like you 6,000, man. You are not. Oh my God. All right. In a solidarity ecosystem, different organisms coexist and support each other, creating a harmonious balance. You better speak, okay?
Was that
And
Janelle?
no, it's yay, yay, yee, yee.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Camille.
Yeah. Shout
Okay.
outs.
People are hungry for a better way. If you're hungry for a better way, like Mabry's comment. If you're hungry for a better way, we're gonna do a social test right now.
I
like
say.
Mabry's okay. So y'all,
Yes, I love it. Yes.
we are so excited. Man, I'm just so on fire now to just really launch this podcast and have this conversation, have these conversations. The first conversation, Amaha will be having a conversation with Kiana Daniels,
Shout
who
out Key.
knows the master connector. She has so many titles, but she is also on the Co-op Dayton board and has been a phenomenal board member, just really with her support and her work.
Phenomenal.
And so her and Omaha will be having a conversation about what's the first
Boy, I know you're gonna ask me that. I was like, let me look it up real quick.
But I think it's about how it's like, how do we step into the now? Like kind of a little bit of what you talked about earlier about like, who are we waiting on? We're waiting on ourselves. How do we,
Yeah, yeah.
that it?
Yeah, it's something about yes. Yeah, I think it's like what is our like yeah, how do we move into the now and it's something about like building an ecosystem too, I think. But yeah, I can't fully remember.
You know what? I want to ask this question just to ask it, but like, do y'all really like, y'all are really vibing with this conversation and very interactive. Do you guys want to have lives? Like, are lives better? Would you like to have lives and like we just kind of like strip the audio and put them in a podcast? Or like, I really like this back and forth energy, but right now we have talked about just having a podcast. We're getting our channel set up, but oh, Mabry said yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
like the lives too, yeah.
Oh, it's lit
Yeah.
over here. So we'll talk about that and we'll keep you guys posted. But the first episode will drop the third week of February. Um, yes, okay, we're getting a lot of great ideas. But yeah, the first episode will drop the third week of February, but we'll keep you posted. Please make sure you guys follow Co-op Dayton's page on Instagram. That's where we're really active because Facebook is weird sometimes. But Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, we'll be posting this video on YouTube so you guys can share. Make sure you guys share with your family and friends of similar mindset and a different mindset, but let's like keep this snowball effect going.
Yeah. Do you want to mention March or you want to hold on saying March?
Oh, it's Dr. Jessica.
Woo, woo. Yeah, yeah. We got Dr. Jessica going to be on. We're going to have a dialogue with some of our local co-ops. You know what I mean? We're going to just, just chop it up and get a chance to sit at the feet of our elder and gain some wisdom on this cooperative way. You know what I mean? And cooperative praxis.
Dr. Jessica is a gem, and
Yes.
to have a conversation with her and then actual cooperative worker owners in the Dayton community, like that is huge. So we don't have a date just yet, but we have 2 days locked down. We're just choosing between the two. But yes, initially we're going to start it off as a podcast, but we'll keep you guys posted on the lives. But make sure you follow, join our newsletter, visit us at coopdayton.org so you can just stay in the know. But thank you for having this conversation around solidarity. We really want to build trust and build a foundation so that everything that we continue to build is just on strong ground and
That's
solid.
right. That's right. Yeah, I just want to say, give thanks for everyone joining today. It means so much to me and to us, right? And I think, like the people in the room make the conversation, you know what I mean? So I appreciate this co-creation, you know what I mean? And let's just continue to build and grow and support one another as we're building this new world.
All right, y'all. I see all the thank yous and the great exchange. We appreciate y'all's input.
Yes.
Me and Amaha, we can talk all day, but the real difference and the change happens when we can just all talk and all be in it. That's why we're excited for this podcast. But be on the lookout. Thank you guys. We'll catch you later.
Peace and hair grease. Bless and love, everybody.
All right. I gotta learn how to shut this down. Oh, man.